Imagine a house built over 70 years ago. It has strong walls and a solid roof. But as your family grows, you realize you need to install a Wi-Fi router, or maybe build an entirely new room. You don't tear the whole house down just because times have changed. Instead, you carefully upgrade it, keeping the strong foundation while making the space work for how you live right now. That is how the Indian Constitution works. It is the foundational rulebook for the entire country, drafted back in 1950. When society evolves, the rules need an upgrade. In law, we call this formal upgrade process an amendment, or Rajanga Savarana. To make sure these upgrades happen legally and fairly, Article 368 of the Constitution explicitly gives Parliament the power to rewrite or add to the rules. The creators of the Constitution knew they couldn't predict the future. They designed the rules to be stable but not frozen, allowing the framework to survive and guide the country across generations. In the early decades, most of these upgrades were about fixing land ownership and drawing state borders. But by the 1970s, the upgrades turned into a fierce tug of war over government power. In 1976, the massive 42nd Amendment expanded central power, earning the nickname the Mini-Constitution. But the system self-corrects. In 1978, the 44th Amendment acted as a counterweight, restoring safeguards for civil liberties. This era showed that the amendment process can serve as a self-correcting system, moving first toward concentrated power and then back toward a balance of checks and balances. By the 1990s, the focus shifted from central authority to pushing democracy all the way down to the neighborhood level. In 1992, the 73rd and 74th Amendments gave constitutional power to local village councils, or panchayats, and city municipalities. For the first time, regular local elections were written directly into the national rulebook. As the 2000s approached, the goal became making the national framework more inclusive for the people it serves. Take the 86th Amendment in 2002. It made education a fundamental constitutional right for every child between the ages of 6 and 14. Then, in 2016, the 101st Amendment modernized the national economy. It introduced the Goods and Services Tax, or GST, which unified different state taxes into a single coordinated framework. These updates continue to current times. In 2023, the 106th Amendment reserved 1/3 of all seats in the Lok Sabha and state assemblies for women. These constitutional amendments dictate the way modern citizens vote, how they pay taxes, and access education today. This brings up a critical question. If Parliament has the power under Article 368 to upgrade the Constitution, can they change or destroy anything they want? No. The Supreme Court stepped in to act as the final referee, drawing a hard line on what can and cannot be touched. They established a rule known as the Basic Structure Doctrine, or Malika Swarupam. If the Constitution is our house, the basic structure is the deep, unbreakable foundation underneath it. Parliament can paint the walls or add new rooms, but they cannot damage the foundation. Principles like democracy and fundamental rights are permanent parts of this structure that no amendment is allowed to destroy. The Indian Constitution manages to evolve through Rajanga Savarana, amendments, while its essential soul remains protected. The next time you vote in a local election or pay a tax, you are seeing a living rulebook at work, adapting with the times while standing on a permanent foundation.